The American Revolution was an exciting time in history when the 13 American colonies decided they wanted to be free from British rule. Imagine living in a big house owned by a distant cousin who laid down rules for everything you did. During the 1700s, the King of Britain and his government were like that distant cousin, telling the American colonies how to live, work, and even what taxes they should pay. Although the colonists were far across the ocean, they were expected to follow all these rules, even though they couldn't vote. This unfairness made the colonists angry. The tension kept growing until eventually the colonists decided they wanted to break away and run their own affairs. They were tired of being bossed around without a say, so they began talking about independence. This idea caught on in 1775 when the Revolutionary War started. The war was between the American colonies and Great Britain. The colonist soldiers were called the Continental Army, and they were led by a brave man named George Washington. At first, the fighting was tough, as the British were very powerful with their strong army and navy. But the colonies were determined and received help from countries like France, who also wanted to see Britain lose. An important moment came on July 4th, 1776. This day is now celebrated as the 4th of July in the United States. On this date, important leaders from the colonies came together and signed the Declaration of Independence. This document boldly declared that the colonies were now a free and independent nation. The war continued for several years with many battles. Sometimes the British won, and sometimes the Americans did. But with determination and clever strategies, the American soldiers were finally able to win a significant victory at the Battle of Yorktown in 1781. This defeat made the British decide to give up trying to rule over the American colonists. In 1783, the war officially ended with the Treaty of Paris. This important agreement recognized the United States of America as an independent nation. The American Revolution was a turning point in history. It showed the world that people could fight for their rights and succeed in becoming free from rule they thought was unfair. The revolution set an example and inspired other nations and people to also fight for their freedoms. Now, when you hear about the United States, you can remember it all started with the spirit and courage of the American Revolution.